You know what? We're going to break some rules. Molly, here's the microphone. We're just going to, sorry, Kristen back in the studio. We're rebels. All right?
Ooh, I like being a
rebel.
You
ready? We're just going to take it over, and we're going to make it happen. So let's see if Cosmo can pass the Myers test, okay?
Okay.
Will, Layla, Susie, and Sadie.
Yes.
Thank you.
I
get candy. I get candy. I win candy. All right.
You did it.
All right.
Even without the notebook.
I know. It's not written down anywhere. I did it. Can I get a fist pump? Bam. Oh, there's chocolate on your hand. Gross. No, I'm kidding. So, Molly, you worked for the hospital with us on Radiothon and in other roles at the hospital many years ago. And then all of a sudden, boom, your world comes crashing down twice as far as needing the services of the hospital.
Yes.
How can you share your story as quickly as possible without rushing you?
I mean, there's so much.
Remember the old CliffNotes versions? It's so different.
The most condensed version is you gave a great background, so that helps us. So, I think the biggest thing that I always tell people is I worked for the hospital, and so I worked day in, day out for Children's Hospital, and I got to see the backhand of this Radiothon and make miracles and feel like this is so good if we ever need it. And then, boom, I needed it. The first time I needed it was with Will, when I got a phone call, actually, while I was preparing for Radiothon, and the number popped up. When you see your doctor's office number pop up, yay to Miracle Maker.
Yes, thank you guys.
Woohoo! And seeing the number pop up, you kind of freeze, because do you want to answer it and find out, or do you not want to know what the test results are? So the first phone call I got on Will was the report of his MRI, and I'll never forget Dr. Stroud's voice coming through the line saying, "Molly, do you want to come over to my office?"
Oh, that's never good.
It's never good. And hearing those words almost brought me to my knees. I've said that I both felt frozen, like I couldn't move, and that I was falling off a skyscraper all at the same time. Mm-hmm. And so I mustered the only words I could. No. Tell me. I can't move, and I need to know. And so her words from the get-go were reassuring, and that's something with Children's Hospital that I always like, the delivery
Nice.
of information. And she said, it's not the best news, but it's not the worst news, and we'll figure it out together.
Yeah.
It still makes me a little emotional, just immediately knowing I had help, and I knew who was going to help me. So the news that was delivered to me that day was that Will had partial agenesis corpus callosum. And I had no idea what that meant either. I mean, I felt as confused as any of you listening, what is that? What does that mean? What do we do?
Yeah, so many big words, and just it's not something you've heard before,
hit you. And so from there, in layman's terms, she explained that Will is missing about a third of the middle portion of his brain. So our journey with Will has been that Will has had to literally learn how to do anything that crosses midline. It hasn't come intuitive. I use the example of if, infants and toddlers sit at the table and watch you use a spoon, one day they're going to reach out, grab that spoon, and mimic that.
Right.
For Will, he had to be taught that. Mm-hmm. It was hand over hand, hours of therapy, hours of repetition. We literally have had to build the motor plan for Will. So everything from as simple as a spoon to walking to talking. Our journey has been very deep with children's therapy centers, speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy. We always say that for Will and his journey, there is no pill that he can take to grow a brain back. His medicine, his lifeline, how we learn and do things is through therapy, hours and hours of therapy.
Yeah, and most families, they go through something like this one time.
Yes.
Not you. You're an overachiever.
So you so first off, you find out that you guys are having twins. So that's news, right? That's a thing.
That was a high blood pressure day. I typically have very low blood pressure. And that day was an alarming blood pressure day. And I always tell the girls, they said, "Were you sad?" And I said, "No. I was surprised."
Yeah.
That was the biggest surprise I've ever had, and
Absolutely.
thrilled.
But then they come early.
Then they
31,
came early.
32 weeks-ish, somewhere in there?
Yep, 31 weeks exactly. At midnight, I turned 31 weeks, and I had them at 12:34 a.m. and 12:36.
Oh, my gosh.
And every hour counted. At that point, they wanted to buy as much time as they could. And so, another kind of just out of left field. Didn't see it coming, didn't realize that I would need it again, and a different arm of the hospital, right? What we needed for Will was outpatient.
Yep.
It was totally different than 55 days in the NICU.
Yeah.
And Layla and Susie was 55 days in the NICU, coming right off of 9 months after figuring out everything that was going on with Will.
Right. Well, now you have the unique experience with being a parent now, of kids that have needed the services, and then also being on the other side of it, seeing the Radiothon and basically running us, and seeing what the funds of Midmo giving, what those funds are actually doing, because then you're at the hospital seeing literally every day what those funds are helping with. Can you tell our listeners why, your unique perspective on why it's so important for them to partner with this?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing I would say, why give? Why should anybody listening right now give? Is because you never know. You never know when you wake up in the morning where your day's going to go. I never saw the twists and turns in my life coming. There was no warning, it just was. And so if you're wondering, give. Just give, because whether it's you or your neighbor, your coworker, somebody's life will be touched by Children's Hospital, and somebody's safety net, somebody's comfort, somebody's "I'm going to do this with you. We're here together and we're going to do this" is going to happen at Children's Hospital. And so let's keep protecting it and keep protecting these services that we need. And the way that the funds are used go from everything from that equipment. Layla and Susie needed the Omnibeds that we fundraised for, that Radiothon bought them, that I helped raise money for. I had to turn around and I needed it. And it helps with child life. You know what? Child life is so important in helping calm the entire family system. Music therapy. You guys have heard all day. All the listeners have heard all the things, and it all matters.
Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely. There's so many things, we can't even list what the funds go to.
Yeah, I've used that analogy and told that story of yours many times, that you helped push an Omnibed demonstration down into the lobby of the old hospital for us to talk about. We're raising money to buy these things, and then less than 2 years later, you're sitting there looking at one of them with your babies in it.
It was our lifeline. It was what was keeping my babies growing.
Well, let's call right now and give and become Miracle Makers. We're on the Venmo again at Zimmer Radio Group. And again, $20 a month to become a Miracle Maker. That's all we're looking for. And we're a one-time donation. If you can do 107, perfect. Do it. Pick up the phone and call, and let's get that Missouri Vein Care bell ringing. Again, every time you hear that bell ring, it means another Miracle Maker is happening, as we are live on the 18th Annual Missouri Credit Union Miracles for Kids Radiothon.